Liam Neeson's in another action flick? Well, he's got a very particular set of skills. And if you do not watch it, he will look for you. He will find you. And he will... Nope. Not doing that. Not doing that. But seriously, anytime you see a movie like this, Taken has to be the first thing on your mind, right? What's going on, y'all? And yes, here we are, going back to the movie theaters once again. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Honest Thief, written and directed by Mark Williams. And yes, as you can tell by that cold open, this is the latest action venture from the one and only Liam Neeson. And here, Neeson plays a professional bank robber who is hoping to clear his name by agreeing to return all the money he stole in exchange for a reduced sentence. But when two FBI agents set him up for murder, he must now go on the run to clear his name and bring them to justice. So let me start with the positives first, because honestly, this movie could get really cheesy in a hurry. But here's the good news, y'all. I really dug all of these performances, and to be quite honest, also, this is one of the most underratedly stacked casts of 2020. Liam Neeson, of course, stars in this one, and what else do I have to say after that? It's Liam fucking Neeson. In an action movie, no less, and he is as dynamic as ever. And I really respect the different turn this character took from other films like Taken. This is a guy who's committed a lot of theft. He's a troublemaker. But because of his relationship to Kate Walsh's character, who also, by the way, very strong, I really liked the chemistry these two had. But because of this new development in his personal life, he wants to get away from all the trouble. Mild spoiler, but he does turn himself into the FBI in order not to get her involved in this mess. Which, of course, she does. And all these hijinks lead to a bevy of really fun action sequences. But I'll get to those in a minute. How about the rest of these performances? Well, you got Courtney here playing the villain, and he's Courtney. He's playing a corrupt police officer here, and he is so deliciously over the top. Personally, I liked his turn as Captain Boomerang more than this, but you can just tell that he was having a blast recording this. He is just eating up every frame. And my dude Anthony Ramos from Hamilton is here. He was so good. I would argue that Ramos steals the whole movie. His arc was the one I was most interested in. I was kind of upset that this wasn't the lead character because this is the most interesting scenario, and I really wanted to learn a lot more about him than I did. But nothing wrong with what these actors are doing. Let's talk about Robert Patrick for a second here, because I have not seen him on screen in a minute. Granted, this is a very brief appearance, but it was a very pleasant and welcome surprise to see the T-1000 on our screens yet again. Now, getting back to those action sequences, like I said earlier, I think they're pretty fun to watch. You got your usual car chases and your gunfight along the way. Now, the fight choreography and the stunt work is fairly solid, but I will say, the action sequences are where my issues for this movie start. Honestly, if you've seen one of Liam Neeson's action films, like a Taken, for example, you pretty much get the general gist of what the action is like in Honest Thief. I think the best word to describe this action is plain. I mean, it's fun to look at, but there's just nothing overly spectacular about it. Also, as I've mentioned, this guy is turning himself in for his wrongdoings fairly early on, which gets me into my next issue. It's this screenplay. I feel like because he turns himself in so early, what happens afterwards just feels extremely forced. It's almost like the script was looking and scavenging for ways to fill out this runtime. And yes, that does mean a ton of cheesy dialogue that I just could not help but bust out laughing at. And honestly, that's a shame that this story feels as forced as it does, because I really like some of this action. But stacking it up against other action movies, especially with this star, it just feels like I've seen this before. Also, I will mention, there is one sequence where a house is burned down. You could not have pictured more fake-looking CGI for that fire. But perhaps my biggest issue with Honest Thief is this. Yes, it's a very ordinary, plain narrative overall, but looking back at what I was shown, but I had a big issue with how the story was told in terms of the order in which certain big events were shown to us. Especially towards the end of this movie, the climax I felt was told way out of order. I don't want to get too deep into spoilers just in case some of you are still interested in checking this one out, so I'll sum up. There is some vindication near the end of this movie that honestly, by the way, falls extremely flat. But then shortly after this vindication, there is a reveal that occurs that feels like it would have served better if it was given to us before the vindication. Does that make sense? Also, I gotta say, I feel like this movie needed more time. It's only an hour and a half, so in theory, this should be an easy film to sit through. But Honest Thief has a lot of characters and a lot going on with them. And there's a lot of really important events that occur with these characters that I feel like the movie just kind of glosses over. Like towards the end of this film, we see some go down. Liam Neeson is looking at the damage and he's like, "Oh, that sucks." And he moves on. That's not actually what he does. I'm just paraphrasing here. But honestly, if he actually did do it that way, it wouldn't have made much of a difference. But yeah, this movie would have been a million times better if it got more time. All that being said though, Honest Thief is not the worst film I've ever seen. It is just very uninspired and plain in the long run. I'm gonna give Honest Thief a C. In all seriousness, this movie is inoffensive. I didn't hate this movie. You could honestly watch Honest Thief and still have some fun with it. But to me, like I said, it felt very ordinary. I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a broken record, but this movie just didn't really do a whole lot for me. Maybe I was just one of those people that was looking for the extraordinary instead of just, you know, plain old ordinary. And that leaves a guy like me leaving the auditorium sadly very underwhelmed. But have you guys seen Honest Thief? Are you looking forward to seeing it? Do you enjoy the movie? Do you not? I would love to discuss all these thoughts down in the comment section down below. And if you guys are enjoying this content and you guys would like to see more from me, please, please, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can so you guys can stay in the loop anytime I upload a new video. And hey, if you guys enjoyed the review, please be sure to leave a big fat like on it on your way out. I'd really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel so far. Thank you for clicking on the video. Look out for more exciting content coming to the channel very soon, and also my continuation of the David Fincher series. Thanks so much again for the support, y'all. With all that being said, back talk, commence.